So let's just jump right in. What if I told you that one of the most common supplements in the fitness world, something we all kind of associate with young bodybuilders, might actually be one of the most important tools for anyone over 50? And no, we're not talking about vanity muscles here. We're talking about something way more important: maintaining your independence, keeping your mind sharp, and really just aging powerfully. You know, this quote, it really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? For so many people, the real fear of getting older isn't about the gray hair or the wrinkles. It's this. It's the loss of physical freedom. It's that moment you realize a simple act, like getting up off the floor, is suddenly a two-person job. This is the reality we all want to push back against, and it starts a lot earlier than most of us think. And here's why it's so critical. After you hit 50, you start losing, on average, about 1% of your muscle mass every single year. But get this, and this is the really shocking part, your actual strength declines almost twice as fast. It's this slow, steady drain that leads directly to frailty and that loss of independence we were just talking about. Which brings us to creatine. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that the stuff for 20-somethings trying to bulk up at the gym? And look, for years, that was its entire reputation. But the science is painting a completely different picture now, and it's one that is incredibly important for both brain health and muscle function as we age. So before we go any further, let's be super clear on what creatine actually is. It is not a steroid. It's not some weird synthetic drug. It's a totally natural compound that your own body makes from amino acids. Its main job in your body is to help recycle energy at the cellular level. The only problem is, just like a lot of other things, our body's ability to produce it starts to slow down as we get older. Yeah, this slide just cuts right through all the noise and misinformation. People hear creatine and they worry it's a steroid. It's not. They worry it'll damage their kidneys. But for healthy folks, the research is overwhelming. We're talking over 1,000 studies that show it's one of the safest supplements you can take. And that myth about it only being for the young, well, as we're about to see, that could not be further from the truth. Okay, so this is where the story gets really, really fascinating. Because while creatine is definitely great for your muscles, its most powerful benefits for aging might actually be happening inside your head. The best way to think about it, it's like a backup battery for your brain. Here is a little perspective for you. Your brain, for all its amazing complexity, only makes up about 2% of your total body weight. It's tiny, really. And based on its size, you'd think it wouldn't need much to keep it running. But, and this is a huge but, that tiny 2% organ is an absolute energy hog. It burns through a massive 20% of your body's total daily energy. That's why your brain is so unbelievably sensitive to any drop in its energy supply. So it really makes you wonder, right? When our natural creatine levels dip with age, and that cellular energy system gets a little less efficient, what happens to that super demanding organ? Well, you feel it. It shows up as that frustrating brain fog, or those tip-of-your-tongue memory lapses, or just that mental exhaustion that hits you in the middle of the afternoon. And here's how creatine steps in. Think of it this way. Your cells run on a molecule called ATP. That's their power source. When you use an ATP molecule, it's spent. Creatine works like a super fast recharging station. It swoops in and rapidly rebuilds that ATP, giving your brain and your muscles way more on-demand energy to get their jobs done. And the payoff for topping off that brain energy is huge. We're talking real, tangible benefits. Studies have shown it can support your working memory, help you fight off that mental fatigue, and even speed up how quickly you process information. There's even some really exciting research suggesting it can have a protective effect. And, get this, it can even help offset some of the cognitive damage from a bad night's sleep. Who couldn't use that? Now let's connect this all back to our physical strength. Because your brain health and your muscle health are not two separate things. They are deeply, deeply connected. Both are absolutely essential if you want to maintain your independence. In fact, research now shows a direct link between physical frailty and the risk of dementia. You see, we have to stop thinking about muscle as something that just helps us move or look good. Your muscle is a vital metabolic organ. Healthy muscle tissue acts like a giant sponge, just soaking up excess blood sugar right out of your bloodstream. That helps keep your metabolism humming and protects you from a whole host of age-related problems. So when you put creatine together with some kind of resistance training, you get this incredible 1-2 punch. It's a combination that's proven to help you hang on to that precious muscle, improve your actual strength and power, and even support your bone density, which is so important, especially for postmenopausal women.
It all adds up to a lower risk of falls and a better shot at staying strong and independent.
Okay, so the science is solid. The benefits for both your brain and your body are pretty compelling. But how do you actually put this into practice? Let's make this super simple and actionable so you can walk away with a real plan. Look, the science on this is really consistent. The dose that works for both cognitive and physical benefits is simply 5 grams a day. And you don't need to stress about the timing. Whether it's in your morning coffee or before or after a workout, it all works. The single most important thing is just taking it consistently every day. So here's your checklist. Nice and simple. First, what you want is creatine monohydrate. It's the most researched and effective form. Try to find a micronized powder. That just means it's ground up finer so it dissolves better and is easier on your stomach. Then just mix 5 grams into any liquid. Seriously, water, coffee, a smoothie. It's tasteless so you won't even notice it. And this last point is maybe the most important. Always choose a brand that is third-party tested. That's your guarantee that what's on the label is actually in the jar. So we'll just end on this thought. We spend so much time and money looking for complicated solutions to aging, but what if one of the biggest keys is something this simple, this safe, and this incredibly well-researched? It really seems like creatine isn't just for bodybuilders after all. Maybe it's for anyone who wants to protect their brain, their strength, and their independence for all the years to come.